or a 4, I would say you're at a 2, and this is why. Because at the bottom there is a spot for student, and then at the very bottom you can see a teacher comment column. So I really do actually like this one as a formative example, and then you could use this exact same one again for your summative. You could do it like midway point or maybe a week before the final, or whatever it is that they're doing is due, and then do it again for the end. Okay, so another one, 4, 3, 2, 1. What I really like about this one is the quantitative approach. So it talked about the exact percentage. This is a math rubric, but it did give them some really valuable percentages. Like there's no questioning. I mean, if they got 3 out of 4 steps correct, then they're a 2. If they got maybe 1 out of 4, or 3 out of 4 correct, or or maybe 4 out of 5, or whatever the case be, it's going to show them. It would be kind of hard to do it with 4 or 5, but maybe let's say it's 10 different steps that they're doing. Then you could see that, if they got maybe 8 to 9, which I'm really not liking these percentages, but it would fit with whatever it is that you're scoring. So, but I really do like the quantitative part here. I think it would help the students understand how they're being scored. Okay, this one, it's hard to read, but I just actually was pulling out one key information. The 4, 3, 2, 1 actually went down the left side, and then the objectives went across the top. So a little different format, but still the same. The fun part about this one is that the student's key question, kind of like if the student on this one had to be able to interpret accurately the importance of the mathematical problem. Maybe the student's question was, can I interpret accurately a mathematical problem? And then that key question was added to the rubric so the students could see exactly what was being scored. That was their essential question for their learning objectives. So it definitely makes it very clear. Okay, this one is totally different but acceptable. It was like a top, or down, or bottom up, more just an arrow approach. So level 1, like here at the bottom, little or no focus, little or no learning, focus most of the time. So this one actually looked like a behavior one, but you could easily do this for like a student check for understanding, for a formative check. Like I have little or no understanding of what's going on. I still need a lot of help. I'm not able to do it independently. A level 3 could be I'm able to do it independent most of the time or with a partner. Level 4, I have no problems. I've got this teacher. Let's move on. So you could really have some fun with that. Okay, another one. Again, the 1, 2, 3, 4 goes down the side. On that 1, it was 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's really up to you how you want to set it up. The content standards would be right up here. If you did more than one standard, then of course your standards would just be listed separately here. You don't want to bunch all of your standards together. So let's say, for instance, you were doing area and perimeter. You wouldn't want to put student understands area and perimeter in the same category. You would want to separate those because if they understood one and not the other, you'd have no way of tracking that. Okay, so here's some more formative type examples. This is a writing one, so just fun. This could be the teacher tracking it or the student, that they were able to do these things, not yet or yes. So maybe you were just tracking it all in one day, or maybe you just kept this as an iterative checklist, so then you just kept going back and adding to it. Okay, another primary example. Just a fun one. I started with a capital letter, thumbs up or down. I used finger spaces, thumbs up or down. I used punctuation, thumbs up or down. Those could have been your 3 learning standards, and maybe they were going to be authors of a new book for their class. You could have had a lot of fun with the performance task on this one too. So this would be a way for them to check, and then the teacher could easily go back behind and put a star, or maybe put a note about, maybe, no, I don't quite think it's a thumbs up and this is why. So there'd be ways that the teacher could provide feedback as well. Okay, another little writing checklist, a little different than the thumbs up, thumbs down. What's fun about this one is it's got the student checklist plus the teacher checklist. So the teacher can write right on there. Okay, this is probably one of my favorites just for creativity. smiley sentences. I mean, that could have been your performance task. It could have been, this week we're going to create smiley sentences to make students feel better in class. We want to make everyone smile. Something fun like that. And then as they go, so they get a circle if they use capitals and periods. If they put finger spaces, they get an I. If they use their sight words correctly, they get another I. If their writing was neat, they get the smiley face. And if they wrote their name on their paper, then they get the cute little hat. So that one could have been the teacher drawing it on there or the student at the top. So the students understand why they got each of those things. Okay, so rubric and formative checklist should. So this is just what should they include. They should align exactly with your learning outcomes and essential questions from part 1. And there should be no new criteria unless you're doing presentation, participation, following directions. It's always good to add the participation in there just so students participate. Give that points. But as far as like if you were doing periods on sentences, you wouldn't want to do capital letters if that wasn't part of your original performance task. So you just want to be careful there. All right, so it is time to get to work. If you need any help, let me know. Again, if you want me to look at this section prior to you submitting it, I would love to do that. But before I let you go, I almost forgot, and I'm going to put these on Canvas too, so you can look at them later. But I want to show you a couple just quick examples. I'm not going to keep it on here for a long time. But the student, here's their stage 1, part 1. Here's the second part. So their performance task was, today in class we have a mystery on our hands. Our local police department has asked to match the face of their given suspect on their character traits. Our job is to look closely at each suspect and match the given traits to the name to help solve the mystery. By solving the mystery, we will be helping our police enforcement, and we will also begin to understand how we can describe a character based on their traits. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the student outcome is students will be able to identify character traits as a foundational skill to understanding fictional text. And then the teacher could have even talked about how this was a fictional scenario. Even though it's authentic, this could actually happen. There could be a mystery in a town. Police could be asking for help to determine traits of an individual. This is a fictional setting. If it was an older group, you could even go into realistic fiction. But you could have fun with this one. So then they had a performance task rubric, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one actually probably could have just done 1, 2, 3, 4, but it really was fine. Another great thing about this one is they used quantitative. They actually showed the numeric, this is what you have to do to get to each one. Okay, so that's it. So you've got your performance task and you've got your scoring rubric. I believe the next one I'm going to show you does have maybe 2 different scoring rubrics. Let's look. Okay, so there's your part 1 again. Okay, so here is part 2. So the formative assessment. I think hold on, let's see. Okay, so here's the paragraph, maybe. I think I pulled up the wrong one, just a moment. Okay, let's try another one. This one for part 2, so here's the performance task. Today you will be a store sales agent. Your task is to design a sales shop by using examples based on what you see in everyday lives. Your customers are here to buy items for their trip out of town. The challenge, so there's their learning objective, is to create a store to allow your customers to buy what they need and receive their correct change. You will count and understand the value of U.S. coins. This includes the pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. So you could probably see already what the learning objective is just by that task. But if you come down here, she went ahead and put it very nicely. So counting change back is the first one, which just shows that they're able to count. So it's a very authentic experience, and that they know the value of each of their coins, and then the participation. Feedback for teacher, feedback for students. So this is where the student can write anything in, the teacher could write anything in. You could also do partner feedback here. Maybe have a partner, give feedback. Maybe they're in groups of 2 or 3. So you could have some fun with that as well. And then there's the total. So I'm guessing that it would just be the count up of how many smiley faces, the count up of how many whoops faces, and then you could figure out the percentage from there. And let's see if I have one more example that I pulled down. I cannot remember. Nope, so that looks like it. I am going to attach these examples to the Canvas for this week, for week 3, for the Backward Design Part 2. Again, do not feel like this has to be your example. You can have a lot of fun with this and create your own. So as long as you have your performance task descriptor, that paragraph of what the students are required to do, like they're becoming a spy, or they're going to be working for the city today, or those are just very basic examples, but that's the first part. The second part is how you're going to score that. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.